All right, here we are, the Sports Black and Gold all over the world on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, X. I did say Instagram, right?
You did.
Did I say that?
Yes,
okay,
yes,
that's right. That's right. And
the gram.
And we're going to drop the podcast right after the show. That's right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts.
Anywhere.
Was that good?
That was extremely loud and boisterous.
How do you feel about that, Scott?
Sounds good after a win.
I'm wearing a Phillies hat. Hold on.
Oh.
Oh, boy.
You just wanted to show your mullet.
Wait a minute.
Did you notice Chris's mullet? It's It's really flowing out the bag.
It's classic, baby.
Yeah,
it's absolutely
flowing
classic.
out the bag.
This is much better. Did you notice
Pittsburgh.
it? Were you like, what's your problem?
I thought I was looking for my Metropolitans hat.
Yeah, that would be the Mets, right? That's what you're talking about?
Yes, the Metropolitans.
And listen, in case you haven't figured it out yet, we're also going to mention the fact that we are now live on Radio PGH. That's right, Radio PGH. And when I find the link to that, we'll put it up there. We do have a comment on Instagram already.
Oh, right. It's got to be the OG.
OC. Official Chris Chada says, I've listened to all the HJ podcasts on the Pens. They're good, concise, to the point, and just the facts. How about that?
Way to go. He's my new loyal fan. I think I made a new disciple.
That's right.
That means congratulations,
Thank you,
OC.
Yep.
I'm glad you're enjoying them. There'll be one tonight. So
pass it around.
Just stop by at about 9:30 and you'll be catching it live.
Pass it around. And I would be remiss if we didn't introduce our guest to my right. We are all in the studio. HJ's across from me. This is the counselor. Scott, friends with Steve, fellow
Yinzer, loud and proud.
The counselor, Scott. Let's see if we can move that camera. There we go. How about that? Does that look better?
No, it looks the same actually.
Does it flatter him more?
No.
I think you sweatshirt on for the game.
You do. So, that's right. You look
old school sweater style sweatshirt.
Okay, there we go.
Can't really see the Pens.
Just got to talk a little louder, counselor. Come on,
you, sir.
You're an attorney, so you should. I'm
used to being soft spoken. You can't handle the truth. Mr.
That's right. You can't handle the truth.
We did that last week.
Anyway, all right. Let's get to what we're here for. Of course, we're going to talk black and gold. We're going to talk about the sports in Pittsburgh. I'm losing my freaking mind.
Easy. We're going to talk about the Stillers.
Yes.
We're going to talk about the Pens.
Yep.
There will be no Pirates because Pirates are now dead to us.
That's right.
And then we're going to talk about what we're watching. Maybe we're going to throw some food in there.
We do have some food.
We do, but it's not a Trader Joe's segment. We're mixing it up a little bit.
No, we're not doing Trader Joe's this week.
Because Burger may introduce the Pirates.
There you go.
So
really?
Something going on.
You might. Oh, okay.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Listen. Not only is he the counselor, he's also our attorney, so we need to listen to his advice.
He was my friend until he said he's going to talk about the Pirates.
Keep it straight.
Somehow, I think he's going to stay your friend.
Don't worry. I wasn't looking for Rowdy's $200,000.
Yeah. I know that was
crazy.
You
can't find it. It's in Nutting's
People
pocket.
actually got upset about that as if it was a surprise. Okay, Steelers, let's go there right away. Good, bad, ugly, in the desert, a victory over Vegas. The three of us watched it together. In
on
Squirrel
tape
Hill.
delay.
Yes, on forced tape delay. So I'm gonna let the counselor go first. Give me what we like to do here is good, bad, and ugly. Just go good, bad, ugly. So give us your good from that game. Obviously, they won.
So I've got a good in two parts, which is law school teaches you to take license with opportunities. So I'm going to do it. My first is the good. I'm going to start with Ryan McCollum. And it's because we didn't hear his name discussed at all in the fourth period. That would be your center who came in through Zach Frazier.
Right.
And Ryan McCollum is in small degree a part of the offensive line, which I think is getting better. Of course, the big caveat there is Zach Frazier. So I guess Dan Moore was jib-jabbing after the game and said he's optimistic about Zach Frazier. And apparently Zach Frazier wanted to go back in, which those of us who have looked at him crawl off the field
right
when he broke his leg in his last game at WVU understand why.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So any more good to add to that, or is that your biggest?
It's good. The offensive line, I mean, Fields was scrambling a little bit, but it's hard to tell on TV whether that's the pocket breaking down or him breaking down the pocket.
Yeah, it's very true. That's a very good point.
Yep.
HJ, lay it on us.
Mine actually is not Steeler related. It's the foe related. It was good that we played against the Raiders because the Raiders literally handed that game to us.
Right.
They had too many penalties at the wrong time. They scored a couple touchdowns that essentially weren't touchdowns. They fumbled at opportune times for the Steelers. And I just think that the Steelers just and not to mention the block punt. I mean, just in all aspects of the game, the Raiders did not look like an NFL team. They were horrible. They were terrible. And I think that was good for the Steelers. I think the Steelers needed to have a big win. And hey, why not? Why not have a, double-digit win for your first time in forever against a crappy team? Because you're supposed to beat up on those teams. So I'm glad that the good was playing against a terrible team.
Interesting you would say that. Good for me was the offense, believe it or not. Justin Fields, 14 of 24 for 145 yards. More importantly, no turnovers. No fumbles, no interceptions.
Well, he did have a fumble.
Oh, he did have a fumble.
No,
yeah,
no.
That's true.
Well, but
kind of.
One interception was a noogie.
It
was a Danny Noonan.
Yeah, I get it, but it's not in the stats.
Not in the stats.
That's all that matters, right?
That's true.
Not in the stats.
It happened, but it didn't happen.
And you're going to be surprised when I say this. Najee Harris.
I knew you were going to go there.
I have to.
That's why I didn't go there, because
Somewhere
I knew you were going to go there.
Najee was there. I mean, that 38-yard touchdown run
that was great.
Best run of his career.
Finally, to see him play the way he should play, close to the way he should play.
Especially because he didn't fumble it out the back of the end zone.
Yeah, that was thank God for that. Yeah, exactly.
I actually thought it was fumbled. I thought it was a fumble.
I know you did.
I'm glad I was wrong.
I know you did. I'm glad you're wrong too. So we might still be hanging out in Scott's basement crying, but
no, the Raiders would have found the way to lose that game.
I think that I would like to see Najee follow this game up with a similar performance. And
against the Jets,
I don't know. Look, the Jets are an anomaly to me. You know how I feel about the Jets. They're a cursed franchise. And I said that for years. You guys would laugh at me. Then they get Aaron Rodgers 2 years ago, and in the first game he goes down. I'm like, look, it's a cursed franchise.
We've known that since Neil O'Donnell.
Absolutely. And I think that he can follow that up. So, going back to the good, I think Fields' play was good. I think Najee's play was good. I agree with you. The line, especially after Zach Frazier had to go out, that was the main concern you brought up, Counselor, was...
Wow, you got a lot of good going on today.
I think it was...
Did you take a good pill today?
No, I don't take anything but bad pills. You know that. But
30 points.
For me to be positive, absolutely. And I have to do this because I've been so down on certain aspects of this, and I have been a Steelers or a Fields apologetic, and I've said he should be the starter. If you're going to go long term with Fields, he has to be your starter. Yeah, I think he remains the starter, and he should. I don't think there's any reason. We can have this debate in a minute. So the good was that. Let's
get to the bad.
I'll reserve the bad for the receiving corps. So Counselor, the bad for you for this game.
Well, I'm sorry to take it from you there, but Georgie, I don't know if there's stones on your hands or what. It doesn't matter if you're always open. Yeah, as long as you drop the ball. So
you can
catch the damn ball.
Yeah, you can
Number 14, just catch the damn ball.
You can say fucking. Yeah. It's all right. They catch the ball. Yeah. There's certain things you can't say, but you can say whatever you want.
Just catch the ball.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's easy. The bad for me was definitely the red zone offense. How can you get so close to the damn goal line and not get it into the end zone? You had a 1st and goal on the 9 or 8 yard line after that block punt, and you lose 11 yards? Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, Come on, Steelers. You can do better than that in the red zone.
Right.
I think that's the bad for me. They need to really figure out how to score touchdowns and not field goals. I know you got the best kicker in the league. We don't need to prove that anymore.
True.
He's good enough. Let him kick it from 55 or 60. When you get inside the 20, get it in the damn end zone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to keep you. That's going to keep you right at that 9-8 level, unless you can start putting that ball in the end zone.
It's supposed to be the hallmark of what's his name,
Mr. Smith.
Smitty.
Yeah, is getting in the red zone. Yeah, Smitty.
He's not getting it in.
He's not. Mike Lawrence is back. He says,
Hey,
"So
Mike,
glad we got the big win. Is Arthur Smith's play calling that much different than Matt Canada? You know, we keep throwing to the sidelines rather than the middle or deep. Thank goodness Najee had a good running game.
Yeah, Mike, I think you should hold that thought until we get into this quarterback conversation.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Ooh, I guess we're going to have a quarterback conversation.
Yeah.
We should. Well, we need to.
I agree. I think we need to as well. The bad for me is George Pickens. I said it last week. I said it. We put a TikTok video out. Our intern, Marta, thank you, Marta.
Marta's the best.
Put a TikTok video out that actually went semi-viral without any money spent, which is, amazing.
That doesn't happen in TikTok.
Not in our world.
Technical director on the TikTok.
That's right. But
Marta.
What I said last week is what I'm going to say again today. George Pickens is a loser. He is plain and simple. He is a loser until he proves me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And he will prove me wrong when he doesn't wear eye black that says open fucking always. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't sulk on the sidelines like a baby, and he stands up like a man, and he plays football, and he shows up on time to practice. Well, nobody said that, but he shows up on time to meetings, and he shows up on time to practice, and he acts like a champion. You are nothing to me until you prove that as a fan. And so far, you're a total jerk.
Are you saying load management hasn't helped his catch radius?
Absolutely. Yeah. Load management hasn't helped a goddamn thing with him. And we all know that's a bunch of crap too. And we can go down that Tomlin rabbit hole. By the way,
George Pickens is a champion. He's an NCAA champion.
I understand.
So are you insinuating that maybe it's the coaching that has turned him sour?
What I'm insinuating, I'm not insinuating anything. I think the guy's a bum at this point. This is your third year in the league.
How about this? I think Brock Bowers will have more Pro Bowls on his rookie contract than George Pickens will in his career.
There you go. That's a hot take right there.
Two Bulldogs.
But the problem is
two Bulldogs. You got it.
The problem with Brock Bowers is he's playing on a team that he's the number one receiver as a tight end. So, of course, he's going to be a Pro Bowl candidate. George Pickens is never going to be a Pro Bowl candidate as a wide receiver in the AFC East. Look who he's got to compete against.
Well, of course, yeah, Jamar Chase, to name one receiver.
And honestly, in the Steelers' offense, I don't know that very many offensive players, other than maybe the offensive line, could be on the Pro Bowl because they just don't score enough. They're not flashy enough. They're just that's the kind of offense they are. They're the meh offense, Canada plus, if you will, Mike.
So the bad, right. So you could kind of lump Justin Fields' passing performance into that in a way, because of course it's not all on George Pickens' shoulders.
This is Pittsburgh beautiful. So I want to get to the ugly.
All right, let's get to the ugly. All right, go for it.
The ugly, slow starts, man. Like
good one.
Can this football team be prepared to play from the get-go? What the
Yeah.
What the
fudge?
Yeah. What the fudge?
Only I didn't say fudge.
Seriously.
Yeah. Is that your biggest ugly take?
I mean, Madison looked like Barry Sanders the first series.
Very true.
Yeah, and then he didn't do anything afterwards. It's really inexplicable how they get off the slow starts. That's an excellent take.
Yeah, well, that's a slow start on the defense. The offense gets off to a slow start as well. I mean, could we score?
The offense got
they
a field
move
goal
really fast, 30 yards, and then they stop. And on 3rd and 8, they run a draw and kick a field goal.
Right.
Well, once they get in the field goal range, they get comfortable and they're like, "Oh, good, we got points.
Yeah,
let's run it."
Yeah. So ugly for him is the slow start again.
Yep. And that's an excellent take. Mine's slightly different. Mine has to do with injuries. I think the injuries are starting to get ugly. There are too many of them. They're in too many key positions. I know the standard is the standard and next man up and all that bullshit. Why do we have so many injuries? Can somebody explain to me? We spent money in the offseason to go get a guy to make this team better, more in shape. And they're worse. They're worse than they ever have been. They're always in the freaking ice bath.
I want to hear what the counselor has to say about this.
So all the teams that passed on Troy Fautanu would tell you why he's injured.
Yeah.
Yeah, his knee injury.
Just saying.
But what about the right tackle or the right guard and the backup right guard and now the center? Like, those guys didn't have any injuries, but yet they're getting injured all the time.
He's been on this.
Nick Herbig.
Yeah.
When is he?
He's been on this all year.
He hasn't played at all.
This is the mantle that Steve has hung his hat on.
Leal. Where has he been all year? He's been injured.
I think the important thing is a lot of these injuries aren't just soft tissue. That I think that's more concerning, but I don't know. They're
not playing, so they're injured, and it sucks. That's to me ugly. That's the definition of ugly.
Okay, so big part of me is saying that's football, man. I mean, it was
so many injuries.
I know what you're saying.
Both running backs already.
You're pointing at the trainers. You're saying what's going on. Why are we not? I get it. You've been on this.
I think Daniels has only missed one game since he's been with the Steelers. So you can't do much about an Achilles.
Right. So ugly for me is, again, the red zone offense. I mean, you have got to score more touchdowns in the red zone, especially given the fact that, as we progress through the season, for the Steelers, the season is only going to get harder. It's not going to get easier. They're arguably...
Oh, yeah. We already saw that with the schedule.
Right. They're in the softest part of their schedule.
Still are. Right in the meat of it.
Right now. Yeah. So, you've got the Jets coming up, which is one of the games we're going to pick in a little bit.
That's right. We have to pick it.
Then you've got the Jets and the Giants at home. Then you go to play Washington in Washington. Who knows what they're going to look like come that point in the season?
Oh,
so
Washington,
far, they look pretty good.
No, yeah. Washington's going to be there. They're going to give the Steelers a run for their money.
Yeah, of course.
In a game that in the preseason looked like, oh well, we're playing Washington. They're going to suck.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's not the kind of game it's going to be now.
Chris, they should play that game at RFK Stadium.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. Yeah,
Only if the Dead played at halftime.
What I'm talking about is the fact that preseason, that was going to be the last game of the easy part of the schedule. Mm-hmm. Now, all of a sudden, you take the gauntlet after that of the Ravens, the Browns, the Bengals, the Browns, the Eagles, the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Bengals.
See, I mean, some of that actually got easier thanks to the Browns.
In theory, it got easier because the Browns and the Bengals are not necessarily as advertised.
I think the Bengals are playing okay ball, but they're not lighting it up.
But it's rivals, and you know how that goes in the NFL. So now all of a sudden the Commanders game is true. Concern. So you've got to learn how to score in the red zone. That was the ugly for me.
Do you want me to take a match to this powder keg?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Please do. That's why we're here.
So you don't ask to light matches here.
So Chris, question. If they're taking the deep sideline route away from Pickens, which they are,
right,
and he's not going to go deep across the middle,
right,
who can we rely on for explosive plays?
Nobody.
The Steelers are really missing Jaylen Warren, who's still, we all talked, not 100%.
Correct.
So I'm just there's no one to make explosive plays.
I agree.
Najee did it with a 38-yard run, which I think was the second longest of his career because he's not really
I think so.
Fast.
Yeah, he's not.
Sorry.
Yeah, they got no explosive. That's not the nature of their offense, though. You're not looking for a quick play. In fact, Tomlin doesn't like the quick play. He likes the good ending. I mean, that was a happy ending, 38-yard run, and he's in the end zone. He'll take that all the time, but he's not looking for a deep pass to Pickens for 76 yards.
No. One
play, 76 yards, touchdown. That's just not the way he has his offense running.
Mason made it happen.
No, he did. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in the red zone.
Another receiver on the other side.
Right. When you're in the red zone, you're within 20 yards of the end zone. So it's not a splash play. It's calling the right plays to work your way into the end zone instead of playing conservative to just make sure you get points.
Yeah. The guy
hold on to Scott's point. Who's going to make those explosive plays? It's not about making an explosive play in the red zone. It's about calling the right play instead of calling, just running 3 times or some weird screenplay or throwing the ball to the sideline.
I think we've just backed into our quarterback conversation.
I think you're right.
If I remember, Russell Wilson is all time one of the best quarterbacks in the red zone.
There you go. That's a good point.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's why they need to play Russ.
So then let's get your take on this, counselor. Do you think that Russell Wilson should be playing?
Hot take time.
I think it's really difficult to take somebody out when they're winning, but they didn't win the last 2 games. And Fields, I think in the first 2 or 3 games, I remember looking at Pro Football Focus and seeing that he was tops on, like deep contested throws or whatever that metric is. I don't think he's made one of those throws in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
And he's missed a bunch of them. So I don't know how long we can rely on his legs. It works against the Oakland Raiders.
Right.
Sorry, they're the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah.
Just say the Raiders.
It's not going to work, when we get to, you think that's going to work against the Ravens?
Well, we don't know, but I concede your point. Yeah. So you're it sounds to me like you're kind of 50-50 on this right now because he's been winning. But would you have started the season with Russ if he had been healthy? Would you have started the season with Russell Wilson?
Here's the dilemma right here. The dilemma right now is we have 2 winnable games in front of us. If you keep Justin Fields in now and he wins these games and we eke him out, then it's damn near impossible to make the switch in bye week.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
If you're 6-2 going into the bye week.
Yeah. How do you do that?
But that also sets up a Tomlin classic collapse where we go, 2-7 the second half of the season.
Yep.
Well, I already predicted that's going to happen. So it doesn't really matter to me who the quarterback's going to be. Because I think I had him like at 6-2 or something like that. Maybe even 7-2.
Yeah.
Because it's the kick part of their schedule. And now I'll concede that probably that Washington game that we thought was cake is now no longer a cake game, but definitely one of those 2 Browns games, 100%. Unless, of course, by that time they get rid of Deshaun Watson, they could be a much better team if they take that idiot out.
Yeah,
and they might have to. My take on the quarterback controversy is very simple. If Russ is healthy, you play him. I've been saying that consistently throughout the season. I think he gives you a better chance at throwing the ball faster. He gives you a better chance of scoring in the red zone. And I think overall he's a better quarterback. However, if there is time when you need to put Fields in there, just play him. Just put him in there. If it's 3rd and 7 and you're not sure whether you want to run it or you want to pass it, put him in there. He already knows how to run the damn play. He's been doing it. It's not like you have to pick between how many plays they have. Let him have the 5 or 6 or 7 plays that we need him in there for, where Russ might not be as mobile. I just think that makes the most amount of sense. And I think the reason we're having this conversation is because we're already thinking about what the hell are they going to do next year.
Ooh,
right.
And
I just feel like I got kicked in the balls.
The problem with that is Tomlin doesn't think past this week.
Steve just sprained my balls.
So that's the
Dallas
deal.
Cowboys guy.
That's absolutely the deal. That's the problem. Everybody's thinking too far ahead. Let's just put him in there if he's healthy. Just put him in there. I don't care if Fields needs to come in. Bring him in. You're not hurting anybody's egos here.
I feel like it's April 1st and I'm looking forward to the draft. And I just missed the entire winter.
I think that, once again, the Steelers are their own worst enemy. So the question becomes, like, you've got this field situation that we're talking about, and you've got Wilson on the sidelines now, supposedly healthy. And it's kind of like, what were they planning on for this year? Like, why did they go get Wilson?
Well, Russ was on the blocking sled, so they're down a few linemen. So I'm
maybe they put him in. Yeah,
maybe he could start at right guard.
Yeah,
and then if you need to, just say, make him the legal man on the end.
Well, Russ snaps,
and then he could do whatever he wants.
And we have 2 quarterbacks in at the same time.
Yeah, it's a great idea. That's very innovative. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
See,
that's why
that's un-Canada-like.
Yeah, that is un-Canada-like. Yeah, it just, for me, I question what the motive is. It's like, if you want to win, and if the goal is to win, I know we've had the conversation, we got to get to the playoffs kind of thing. If the goal is to try to get to the playoffs and win games and win a Super Bowl, and you bring Russ Wilson in, that's why you brought him in.
Right.
And then you go.
He's got that experience.
Then you go and you get Justin Wilson. I keep saying that. Justin Fields. Maybe what they need to do is get
Let's
one of
go,
those,
boys.
Maybe they need to get the
third line just got on the board.
Are we having a football or a hockey conversation? What's going on here?
The hockey Jesus.
It's a real-time update.
There we go. Thank you.
The hockey Jesus is never not watching Penguins hockey.
That's very
just so
true.
you know.
I already knew that.
So
anyway,
actually, it was a pretty bad goal by the goalie. You should have stopped it. Nice shot by Lars Eller, though.
I think that the future is. I think that they want the future to be Justin Fields.
I agree.
And I think that if you want the future to be Justin Fields, that you have to leave Justin Fields in and you got to let him lose. And if you
think that's a terrible idea.
I know you do. Just let me finish. If
they don't have him signed for next year.
I know they don't. But if you take him out now, and I know they're not going to do it this week. I'm not talking about now. I just mean now in this scenario we're in. If you take him out now, you pretty much, in my book, you're destroying him as a starting quarterback.
I don't
in
think
the future for the Steelers.
I don't think so. Why do you think that?
I think it's look, we forget a lot of the times that these guys, they're human beings. And I'm not coming from a compassionate.
I get it. All quarterbacks in the NFL have huge egos.
Right.
And when it gets deflated,
right,
they can get upset.
You're sending a message. You're saying you're not ready, even though we let you play.
No, they're not saying he's not ready.
This was a Bradshaw issue too. The history there with Joe Gilliam. Maybe they're different today, but
Joe Gilliam played for the Steelers way before Bradshaw was there, and he was probably the better quarterback when they put Terry in.
Right,
100% true.
Yeah.
But the reality is, neither of these quarterbacks are on the roster for next year. So to talk about ruining him for the future, to me, is not a conversation that I think makes sense, because neither of them are signed. We can have neither of them next year.
Yeah, that's very true.
So here's the deal. They both came in with the thought that Russ was number one and Justin was number two. There was no, if you play well, Justin, then Russ will sit. There was none of that. There was, Justin, we're going to need you throughout the season. We need you to be ready. And it just turns out that, the blocking sled stopped him from playing the first 6 games.
I think the blocking sled was just a conspiracy.
So
do you really? I mean, is that? Yeah, I actually do too.
I think that was a setup.
Do you really?
Yeah.
You're not jagging me around.
I am actually. Yeah.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. You were like, yeah.
I was like, finally, somebody's taking.
Wait. It's like, yeah. Wait a minute. There is
somebody
a helicopter
like
above his head.
Yeah. So, finally, somebody agrees with me.
We're going to have the new black guy back with Mark.
He believes in aliens too. He believes in aliens.
But that's the thing.
Over my shoulder.
That's the thing. I think these guys came in and
that was great.
These guys came in knowing that. So you play Russ because he's healthy now. You just plug him right in there. And that doesn't mean you don't play Fields also. And just do it. Both of them. I think it makes the team actually a lot harder to play against.
I see Jeff's comment there. I think we've probably spent enough time on this. I like Charlie Batch. Thanks, Jeff. I think you're right.
Yeah, Jeff, my buddy from York, he says Batch is pretty solid on Wilson coming back and playing. Anne Marie, Justin is happy in the Berg. Let's keep him happy. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's something to that. You do have to. I recognize you do have to think a little bit about next year, but they're not going to sign him in the middle of the season. If anything, they're going to go to him at the end of the season and say, "We're not keeping Russ. We want to keep you. How much money do you want? Let's sign now."
Yeah. Well, we have the Jets coming up this Sunday night, and that'll be fun. It's 2 Sunday nights in a row. And not 2 Sunday nights in a row. Sunday,
Monday.
You know what I'm saying. All right. So let's go to our NFL predictions right now, because that game is on the list. What we do every week is we pick 3 games. We take the Thursday night game, the Sunday night game, and then a random Sunday during the day game. Last week, Mark, the Grand Schwabini, who is the counselor sitting in for him, was 2-1. He is now 11-4. Steve was 2-1. He is now 9-6. And I was actually 2-1, which makes me 5 and 10.
You doubled
on my
your
way
win
back.
total.
I did. I almost doubled my win total. I was 3 and 9. Now I'm 5 and 10.
That's like 500 in Klein math.
It is really.
Yeah.
If you do 5 divided by 10, right?
Yeah,
That is
I mean,
500.
That is 500. You are at
Incline math.
500. Congratulations.
he,
You did
he
it.
knows me better
You
than I
made
thought
it.
he does.
There's special math there out there in
Kleinland.
Kleinland.
Kleinland. It's great.
Klein.
You know what? You
the
know my-
Klein land.
Yeah, you know what my wife calls this house? This is so funny. When we go away on vacation,
Yeah.
we'd stay at like all these nice resorts.
Yeah.
She always steals the privacy signs from the doors if they're cool, if
Yeah.
they're nice.
Right.
So we have a bunch of them hanging on our bedroom door,
Right.
privacy.
Yeah.
She calls this place the Ritz Klein. Anyway, all right.
I like it. I like it.
All right, Thursday night game. Who's your winner? Denver at New Orleans. Now, here's what we're going to do. We laid down the law before the show started.
Yeah.
The Grand Schwabini has elected not to be here tonight. So he's going to get a whole world of shit from us next week. But also, the counselor is filling in. So the counselor's picks are the Grand Schwabini's picks. Now, Scott knows a little bit about football, so I think he's going to make an honest
but
pick.
he's not rubbing the lamp.
But he's not rubbing the
How much
lamp.
is coming in and going?
Yeah, how much is really? Well, we'll find out. So we're going to let the counselor go first. Denver at New Orleans.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think Denver has a coach that's going to be pretty amped up for this one, and
that's a good point.
Denver's looked somewhat better, obviously, and New Orleans is just
Tanking. Okay,
Well, I
so
mean,
you're going with Denver.
I got to say Denver here.
This is a tough game to pick. Is Carr still out? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
Because if they got to play that rookie again, he's okay, but I don't know. He's just not great. I'm just going to go with my guy. I'm going with the Saints, and I don't really have a reason for it.
Yeah. I am not sold on Denver at all. I hate Sean Payton. And
Do you think he'll wear a visor in that dome?
definitely.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife calls them ESVs, emotional support visors.
Yeah.
I think his hat's going to say always fucking winning.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm going with New Orleans on that one. I'm going with New Orleans.
Do you think he has a patent on that already?
He should.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a patent on being an asshole. That's for
He's
sure.
got it stitched up right now.
Yeah. The Sunday night game. Let's go. Well, let's leave that one for last. The Sunday game that I picked. I know we went Lions Cowboys last week, but this is a matchup here. Lions at the Vikings.
4-1 versus 5-1.
You got
Winner
it.
goes to the top.
That's exactly right.
The
Got to
NFC
take this.
North.
Got to take this. Who's your
man,
who's your
that's a
winner
tough
here?
one.
Yeah, it is a tough one. I mean, I think I know who should win, but counselor.
Yeah, I think the injury to Aiden Hutchinson is a really big deal for the Lions, and I don't know. I'm afraid of what my friends in Minnesota might say if I don't pick the Vikings. So I'm just going to go with Vikings.
Homer.
Oh,
For those who
man.
don't know, I lived in Minnesota for 12 years. No, seriously, I think the Hutchinson loss is a big deal.
It is.
And the Viking Stadium is a tough place to play because they pump that ridiculous noise in there, and it just echoes.
Yeah,
it's
that was
terrible.
good.
But they got that clap.
It's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
That clap is completely made up, by the way.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's completely made up.
What do you mean?
Everything's made up.
What do you mean?
Just like
Completely
Renegade.
made up. It means nothing.
No, it's just the skull chant. It's
skull
it's made up. I mean,
Oh, it's not
yeah.
real.
My understanding is it's completely fiction. But
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I mean,
hey,
it's
sorry, Minnesota.
it's always fiction till it's real. So it's real for them.
It's real
Right.
for them,
Okay.
and it works.
So you're going with Minnesota.
I'm going with Minnesota.
It's a homer pick for him,
Yeah.
which is kind of
It's-
bizarre sitting here in Pittsburgh.
It's
but
kind.
we get it. We get it.
No, it's kind of. It's if that were in Detroit, I might feel differently.
Okay.
I absolutely think the Lions are the better team.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to win, but I have a take on this that probably nobody else here has. Do you know who Hawk Tua is?
Yes.
Do you know
That girl. Yeah.
you know her new boyfriend is Sam Darnold, right?
Yeah. Oh my God.
You didn't know that?
Did you say hot tuna? Like the band Hot Tuna?
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That
it's a
girl
different thing. Yeah.
Got an NFL quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah. She's
Wow.
a hot commodity now.
Well, he's a Hawk Tua kind of guy.
He likes the Hawk Tua.
Let's go Hawk Tua. Let's
So
go.
I think that the Hawk Tua is going to bring him down, and I'm going to take Detroit. I'm going with
Okay.
the Lions.
Yeah, I'm going with the Lions too because they're a better team. But you know what, Scott's take on the Hutchinson thing.
He's right. He's not wrong.
Yeah, what a horrible injury that was too. So yeah, I mean,
I say good for him.
yeah, that's Terrible.
I mean, the Lions were zooming with him. I don't know what they're going to do now. Maybe they'll trade for TJ Watt.
Yeah, Anna Marie, she says
I bet
Renegade
JJ would come play for him.
Renegade is real, just like the terrible towel curse is real.
She's right on. You're right on there. Ann.
Yeah. So
Anne-Marie.
okay, so Denver at New Orleans. Steve and Chris have the Saints. The counselor and Mark have Denver. Jets at Pittsburgh. Jets at the Steelers. So down at the AC.
Down at the AC.
Yes. Sunday night.
What do you think?
Yeah.
I'm going to be optimistic that Alex Highsmith's going to be back. He did practice last week, I think at least one day. And I think this defense is completely different with Alex Highsmith. No diss on Nick Herbig at 240 pounds, but there's a challenge with the run. And if you can keep that bottled up, and I don't care if Aaron Jones is leading the league, getting it out, I think I saw in 2.4, 2.5 seconds, I think those guys will just make his night.
You mean Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers,
I say Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Sorry.
We knew
That's
what
okay.
we were saying.
So Aaron somebody.
I say Justin Wilson all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love when
sorry.
you say Justin Wilson.
Do you? Does it get you going?
That's who they need to play, Justin Wilson.
I could have said Cedric Wilson.
Yeah, you could have
We
said
could
that.
use Cedric Wilson.
You think?
It's a second receiver.
You could have said Aaron Hall.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
would have been more appropriate.
You could have said Steve Kiefer. Anyway, so
Ooh, I never thought about that.
you got this, or Scott DeFlitch.
No, we don't have any Scots in our
Let's take a
family.
look at that kid. Anyway, so you're going with the Steelers.
Yes.
Okay.
So I believe that I took the Jets in my original prediction. So here's why I'm going to stick with it. One, I think it's a pick'em game. Two, I think it's going to be like a 12-9 type game. I think both teams have really pretty good defenses.
Right.
And I don't think either wants to make a mistake. It'll really come down to, will Aaron Rodgers make a mistake, or will it be Justin Fields making the mistake? And I just think that Justin Fields has played, assuming Justin Fields plays, I think whoever the quarterback is for the Steelers, they're at a disadvantage because we haven't turned over the ball multiple times in a while now.
Right.
And I think they're due. I just think they're due because they just play too safe. And I think eventually that's going to bite them in the ass. This is the game that bites them in the ass. I think they lose. A close one.
Okay. So you're taking,
I'm taking the Jets.
okay. You're
Much as
taking
it
the
pains
Jets.
me because I'm pretty sure I took them.
To me, this is a trap game. This is a game they should win. First of all, because it's at home, they have a great defense, and the Jets are just in complete disarray.
They are. They don't have a coach really right now.
No, and Aaron Rodgers is done. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. Does he have a good game or two left in him? Sure, but he's done.
Oh, he's not going to have a good game against the Steelers.
Probably not.
No, I doubt that.
No,
Seriously.
but this is a classic trap game for the Steelers. It's a game they should absolutely win no matter what. And Tomlin will find a way to screw up the clock, not make the right call. They'll be in the red zone. Something will happen. Justin, they are not going to go 2 full games without a turnover. There's going to be a stupid turnover, and it's going to turn the tide, and the Jets are going to win the game. So I'm going with the Jets. Did you go? You went.
I did with the
too.
Jets for pretty much the same reason.
Wow.
Yeah. I actually think
I don't want to.
Contrarian.
Have the Steelers actually beaten Aaron Rodgers? I don't think they have. I don't think they've actually beaten him once.
I don't know. I was at a game at Lambeau that was pretty crappy.
Yeah.
Mostly because they called Minka offsides on what was a clear block. But
Oh yeah. I remember.
anyway, sorry.
That was a great game.
3 years ago. Still too soon.
Anna Marie says TJ's going to eat Aaron Rodgers up.
Oh, that would be glorious.
Yeah.
I would pay to see that, Anne Marie.
Yep. And as
I guess I could.
as fate would have it, I'm posting the link for Radio PGH right now. If you want to just listen to us at any time, you just follow that link. So, okay. So we've gone through our NFL predictions. Now we're going to move on to Stump the Yinzer. But first, I want to thank everybody. If you're watching us live on video all over the world on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and the Gram, thanks for being here every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. And right after the show, I'm going to drop the podcast, and you can get that on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. Stump the Yinzer. Well, what is that?
Ooh.
What is that? Well, first I'm going to.
Dum, 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 dum.
It's kind of like that.
Thank you very much.
Only in the
Dum,
injured
dum,
way.
dum, 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 dum.
Did we mention that the counselor is also our sound effects guru?
And he loves Jeopardy.
So do you love Jeopardy? Please tell me you don't watch
no.
Jeopardy anymore.
Too slow.
Too slow. There you go. You're too slow or Jeopardy's too
Well,
slow?
both.
Nobody watches Jeopardy since Alex Trebek. Though.
No, my
Let's
mother
face
still
it.
watches Jeopardy every single night.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
You're
and
you're not turning into your parents.
No. And Wheel of Fortune. No. If I turn, I don't want to talk.
You know, the
about
best Jeopardy episode is on Groundhog Day.
Is it?
The movie Groundhog Day, where he knows all the answers.
Oh, yeah,
already,
yeah, yeah.
and
Where he's sitting there
in
eating the
that-
popcorn and then he says the answer before the answer ever comes out.
before the question.
Yeah, before the question comes out. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's the best.
Movie
That's the
hour is the next hour.
All right, you're right. Stump the Yinzer. What is this? Well, generally, we usually have just one Yinzer in the house. That's Hockey Jesus. But we happen to have two Yinzers in the house right here, Hockey Jesus and the counselor. And what we do is we do a little trivia, and whoever wins, whoever gets the answer right, gets to be the Yinzer for the next coming week. And so that means that Steve actually gets to step outside himself and not be a Yinzer for a week if Mark gets it right, which has only happened once.
Only happened once.
So I don't know what to do with this other than I have two Yinzers here. I have a question. Somebody better get it right.
I am gonna default to the counselor.
Oh,
Are you? Okay, you're going to let him answer first?
Yeah.
I have a feeling he's going to know this one.
That's okay.
I really
it doesn't
do.
matter.
I really
because I want by default Mark to be the Yinzer.
Okay, I'm going.
Is it how many Hall of Famers are from Aliquippa, Pennsylvania?
No.
No, but you would know that.
Yeah.
No, but I'll Stump the Yinzer. Which Super Bowl did Jack Ham sit out due to injury?
Oh,
I went to the Wayback Machine.
Oh.
Come on, you got to know this.
that's a good one. Let's see. Jack.
He played in
Ham.
3. He had to sit out one of them because he was injured.
That is a really good question.
Yeah. I think it was 10.
Okay.
I think yeah.
Okay.
I'm a little hazy on this one.
Is that your answer?
Sure.
10. Okay.
I'm going with 14.
You get to be the Yinzer again for the week. It was
you,
Super Bowl 14.
Thank you.
Yes.
Only because I remember Robin Cole playing a lot. And I'm like, why is Robin Cole playing so much?
I can't believe you remember back that far.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything from my childhood.
And honestly, if it
Extenuating
was one of those
circumstances.
earlier ones, I would have no clue. I would have had no clue.
So the Yinzer remains the Yinzer, and Super Bowl
retain my
14.
title.
Jack Ham
Actually,
did not
I don't
play.
think we got it right last week.
I don't remember.
In homage
It was
to
Mike
Jack
Lang,
Ham,
yeah.
though, I will say probably the biggest improvement on this football team this year is the secondary.
Absolutely, yeah.
And how about Elliott as a tackler? I think we talked about this last night. And
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
And how about Dante?
Yes,
not
Jackson.
not Deontay.
Yeah.
How about Dante
Dante Jackson.
with 3 interceptions in the first 6 games.
Yeah. Yeah, that's turning into be
That should have been your good.
yeah. I was actually
good.
we were talking about when we were talking about something else when we were talking about the quarterbacks. I kind of went back in my mind. I thought, you know what, I didn't bring that up. I think the good, but I think the reason we didn't bring it up is that the Raiders are a bad team, and so it's almost like you take the defense that we have and you expect them to play well, which they did, but you still got to intercept the ball. You still got to cover the receivers. And I am very surprised at the play of Dante Jackson.
Come
very
on.
surprised. Very,
Solid.
very, very
Let's
surprised.
go.
Very
So,
solid.
Now that we are listening to HJ watch a hockey game, we are
Rex.
going to bring HJ onto, well, he's already on the screen. So now, so here is Hockey Jesus. Of course, you can follow the Hockey Jesus on YouTube at the Sports Porch Podcast. Hockey Jesus comes on after every single freaking Penguins game. He rarely, actually, in the last 2 years going into this season, hasn't missed a game. If you want to get updated on that, if you want to catch up, you can listen to him on the podcast about 20 minutes after the game on the what am I saying? Spotify,
YouTube,
Apple, the podcast, YouTube, whatever. Anyway, so Hockey Jesus, the start of the season. Wait a minute. Let me just say, Mike Lawrence says he was in the area 10 days ago and had a Yinzer lager at Sharky's in Latrobe, PA. There
Very
you go.
nice.
I'm sorry, Latrobe.
Latrobe.
Anyway, so Hockey
Latrobe.
Jesus, the season has started. The counselor is also
Aw,
a
come
very,
on.
very avid dedicated Penguins fan.
And hockey dad.
And hockey dad. Yes, got to bring that up as well. So you guys, like, let's get it on here. Let's talk hockey. Jesus, please.
I'm sorry. Montreal just scored a goal that was just ridiculous. So let's start with Tristan Jarry, since he gave up a goal. He's the problem right now for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He really is the albatross that's hanging around their neck of trying to get back to some playoff hockey. Everybody knows that the Pittsburgh Penguins haven't been in the playoffs for 2 years. I think it's driving Sidney Crosby absolutely nuts.
Of course.
Because that's where you want to play. You want to play in the playoffs. And the first 3 games that have come by, well, this is the third game. Is this the third game? This is the fourth game. Right. So in the first 3 games, they played 2 playoff teams and 1 non-playoff teams. They beat the non-playoff team and they lose to the playoff teams. And when they lose to the playoff teams, they're losing pretty badly, in my opinion. They lost to the Rangers, the game I was at, and then they lost to Toronto, where the media, and Scott will, the council will actually back me up on this. The media seems to think that they played really well against Toronto, where I thought they didn't play nearly good enough to win the game. They gave up way too many good opportunities, and they ended up losing the game. Were they competitive? Yeah, they were competitive. But in the game of hockey, just being competitive isn't enough. You literally have to dominate. And even sometimes when you dominate a period, you get a fluky goal and the other team can take the momentum away from you. So I think that's the problem with the Penguins right now. They're shifting their lines around a little bit. It's hard to know. You know, Russ didn't play in the first 2 games. He's played in the last 2 now. It doesn't look like they're having too much problem scoring, you know, minus that first game. And I'm just going to say scoring in the first game was because of Shesterkin. Great goalie. So let's just throw that game out. They look like they have the ability to score. Their power play looks like a real power play again, unlike last year. So I think they just need to get it together. They need to keep beating the teams that are beneath them, Montreal being one. They're up 2-1 tonight so far in the first period. And as long as they do that and they tread around the 500, they're going to have to find another gear. And I just don't know where they're going to find it. Do you know where they're going to find it, Scotty?
Yeah, so I'll just take issue a little bit with what Steve said. I think Jarry's an enormous problem. I think the reason why they didn't make the playoffs last year was because of the power play. Full stop. If they score 10 more power play goals and they are just in the top third rather than second to last in the power play, if they have 10 more goals, that translates to 2 to 3 additional wins. They are in the playoffs. That last game doesn't matter. Back to Jarry. I will agree with Steve, also being down at the game, the home opener. And I will say that they were in the Toronto game because of Yoel. It's Yoel, everyone. Not Joel. It's Yoel. Yoel Blomqvist kept them in the game in Toronto. Tristan Jarry did not keep them anywhere near being in the game against the Rangers. Now, of course, as Steve said, they were playing the best goalie in the world. I will, give an example. Chris, mentioned, I am a hockey dad. My son still plays at a college in Pennsylvania, played 3 years of varsity in Minnesota, is a really good hockey player. And the first thing that I look at, Steve knows, is shots from the slot. So after the game, I went on the Pens app, as I always do, and I looked, and I think Toronto had 14 shots from the slot in that game. The Penguins had 4 shots from the slot. I don't even need to have watched the game. It's like the football turnover ratio. If you win the turnover ratio by +2 or +3, you are going to win the football game 90% of the time. If you have 5 times or 3 times the number of shots from the slot, you are going to win the game 80 to 90% of the time. My son played defense. So I have to tell you, looking at that, Blomqvist stopped Austin Matthews, probably the best goal scorer in the game today. On a partial breakaway, just as an example, as one vignette, anybody that wants to watch it. So the goaltending is a big problem. I will say I'm somewhat more optimistic, I think, than Steve is, mostly because I think the bottom 6 is way better. And I think if they can find a way to make Ryan Graves better, who, by the way, again, as a hockey dad, I mentioned this to you guys last night, put 2 shots off of the shin pads of the wing coming out to defend him, which is usually going to set up an odd man break going the other way.
Right.
Like Graves has been in the league for 7 years.
He should know better.
He should know better than to do that. So,
or know how to shoot it around the guy.
Exactly. So, so those little things accumulate because it's a game of mistakes. And when you make those mistakes, they're magnified because they lead to odd man breaks and goal scoring opportunities and shots from the slot.
Right.
And, we'd be remiss to say, so basically you're saying that they're not going to find one person who's going to do it. They're going to do it with 4 lines. They're going to roll 4 lines. The third and the fourth line is going to be better than last year. So Sid and Gino aren't going to have to be able to basically do all the scoring.
That's right. And in the segment that I've created for us, the Yinzer versus the Pittsburgher, I have a take on this that I think will help.
Well, we're gonna have to get to that shortly.
Absolutely. So I mean, it is too early. I mean, this is the 4th game tonight. They are winning. So if they win tonight, they're back to 500, 2-2. And that's okay. I think that's okay in the first 10 games. They're going to go on a 4-game West Coast trip very soon. So that will, if they once again can win 2, lose 2 on the West Coast trip, that'll be good. If they lose all 4, it's going to be a problem. I think it's real. I think that NHL this year is there were some teams that are coming out. I can't believe that Utah is 3-1. Can you believe that?
I can, and I think part of that is excitement. I think to start the season, and I think just seeing a little bit of that game and the new owner, and his energy, I think they're going to have a good culture there.
I'd like that Arizona team, and I could see what you're saying. Getting a new arena, getting fans behind them. They got great young talent in Clayton Keller and Logan Cooley.
Dude, they had to walk a half a mile from the locker room around these funky curtains and everything to get to the ice at the arena they were playing in the last 2 years.
Yeah, because they're playing in a basketball arena.
It's the most bizarre thing in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see
warm-ups. They're going to warm up on the way.
Yeah, on the way.
We'll see how the season goes. The Devils have come out hot. They're 4-1. They look like a really good team, but that's no surprise. Last year, I think they just kind of fell apart. Stars are undefeated still at 3-0, and the big surprise in the West are the Avalanche and the Oilers together combined are 0-5. And that's a shocker. But once again, it's such a small sample.
82 games.
A lot of games to play. But I think there's still something to be learned about starting off slow. Well, I mean, the Oilers did it last year, probably the worst start they've had. And they ended up making the Stanley Cup Finals.
They did.
So, I mean, you can overcome these things early in the season. You can't in the mid-season or late in the season. So it's okay to be in the mushy middle early in the season.
And we're going to hear from you again in a little while. So,
stop back.
OC on the gram has a question, and I thought they had this. Does the NHL have an NFL Sunday ticket like product? Didn't they have? The
NHL Ice. It's called NHL Ice.
There you go.
OC. If you're not in the Pittsburgh area, you can get all the Pittsburgh games on there.
Right.
Unfortunately, if you are in the Pittsburgh area, they black most of them out if you have the Ice package. So don't buy it if you're local. I actually had to buy the Sportsnet app. Sports Pittsburgh. What is that called? Pittsburgh Sportsnet. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Sportsnet. It's the one that holds the hockey. That's what I'm watching now. So I had to buy it. So
one of the best things about moving back home is my cable bill went way down because I was able to ditch both the NHL Center Ice package and the NFL Sunday ticket.
Yeah,
saved me like $1,000 a year.
Yeah,
between those two.
Yeah,
you had to pay for that.
Ice,
you had to pay for those
Center
chickens.
Ice.
Yeah, that's right.
The chickens out back in the city. All right. So I'm going to drop this podcast right after the show, but let's do you want to do your taste test here?
No,
or do you want to do your?
Let's do the Pittsburgher versus the Yinzer.
Okay. Let me dial up a couple things here. Pittsburgher versus Yinzer. And
he's pulling out the lamp.
So I've taken nobody can replace the great Schwabini, of course. So I've taken the lamp and I've replaced it with the 8-ball.
I was worried when he touched the lamp that it might shock him and kill him.
For those who see here, so we've got the 8-ball.
Too much power.
So I was thinking about this, and really this is the Pittsburgher who's optimistic. I'm gonna pose a question to you guys, and then the Yinzer is pessimistic.
Okay.
And we're going to see if you guys can beat the Magic 8-Ball. Okay. You
Oh,
follow?
that's easy.
Wait a
So
minute.
we're gonna do 2 questions for the Steelers, 2 questions for the Penguins, and 2 questions actually for the Pirates. Quickly,
Okay.
because
yeah,
we
that's
got to
why.
do some Pirates.
Yeah, we have to. But
So-
wait a minute.
So the Pittsburgher wants to know:
Oh, okay.
will Mike Tomlin finally win a playoff game?
Okay. So
My answer is no.
this year, yeah. My answer is no.
The 8-Ball says it is decidedly so.
Oh, write that
Interesting.
one down.
Interesting.
Write it down.
All right, hold on. Now you guys got me taking notes. I
That's
feel like
okay.
I'm
I got it.
hanging out. You got
I
it. You got
Yep.
it. All right, good.
Okay.
good.
Tomlin.
All right.
Now the Yinsberger wants to know if George Pickens
Right
will score a touchdown before Thanksgiving.
before Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a yes.
Yeah, I think he's going to score a touchdown this next game. Yeah.
The 8-Ball says yes. It's unanimous.
Okay. All right.
So yep, we got a
Okay.
double yes on that one. Okay.
Okay.
Next.
Okay.
Oh, we're moving the hockey.
The Pittsburgher wants to know, Hockey Jesus,
Oh yeah.
if a young guy in the Penguins lineup will exceed expectations.
No, I'm going to go with no on that.
Let's see.
You're asking the wrong guy here. I'm just going to go with yes. I'm going to say yes. Somebody will exceed expectations. One of the young guys.
Cannot predict it now.
Mm.
However, I will say Drew O'Connor's going to score more than 20 goals this year. That's my prediction.
Oh,
I don't consider him a young guy.
I thought the 8-Ball said that. I was like, well, how does the 8-Ball know about
the
Drew
8-Ball said
O'Connor?
cannot predict.
Okay.
so
but you think
he's
Drew-
taken over. So he's saying yes.
Okay.
Now,
How in the
The
hell does the 8-Ball
Yinsberger-
have Drew O'Connor in it?
the Yinsberger wants to know if Kevin Hayes will make more than $500,000 per goal. Kevin Hayes' salary, Chris, is $7 million a year.
7 million, right?
So 14 goals.
Yes.
Or less.
I'm going to go yes.
So you're saying he's going to score less than 14 goals?
14 or more. I'm going to say yes.
Well, he said that. Say the question again. The Yinsberger wants to know if Kevin Hayes will make more than $500,000.
No. If he will make more than $500,000, yes.
A goal. So
In
that
other
would be
words-
14 goals or less.
Right.
Okay. I'm going to say yes. He's going to be less.
The 8-Ball says ask again later.
Oh,
Like
okay.
probably 2/3 of the way through this.
after like
yeah.
after
is that
one,
what-
one game
is
left.
that what the 8-Ball means?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Now,
Last question.
the Pittsburgher wants to know if Nutting has any intentions of opening the checkbook.
Oh, well, that's an absolute.
Yeah,
no.
that's a no from
That's a
both
hard
of us.
no.
Yeah.
The 8-Ball says most likely.
Oh my God.
Oh, well, I definitely
Listen, if the
wrote that
8-Ball
one down.
gets that right, the 8-Ball is a permanent member of this show.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
All right.
So some of you may know, I mean, there are rumors. I don't know if this has ever been confirmed, but Don Zimmer, longtime Major League Baseball manager,
Yep.
managed for the
Yankees.
for the Red Sox.
Isn't he like
Yeah.
92?
I just remember him being big, fat, and bald.
Apparently, some Red Sox fan at one point carpet bombed his house with manure.
Okay.
Paid someone to drop manure over his house.
Wow.
So the 8-Ball,
That's
the
creative.
8-Ball and the Yinsberger wants to know if Bob Nutting's house will be carpet bombed with manure.
Oh,
I'm going to go with no, but I would love it if it
yeah.
happened.
Yeah. I'm going to say not manure, but maybe pierogies.
Mm.
But so that's a no.
The 8-Ball says without a doubt.
Oh, I love
Oh, man. And by the way, we're not advocating for that.
it. Not really. Yeah. Not really. Yeah. Be careful. Be careful, Scott.
8-Ball versus the Lamb.
Yeah. That's a good one. I
8-Ball
like that.
versus the Lamb.
Yeah. Grant Schwabini versus the 8-Ball. Well, there's a lot of jokes there we could talk about too, if you think about it. All right, let's
Too
move
many
on.
to- too
Let's
many to count.
that was a great segment. Thanks for bringing.
Yeah,
we got to.
that's a
We
good
got
one,
to.
Counselor.
Yeah. We need some more.
The Counselor's
creativity.
8-Ball. That's what we're going to call that one.
This is my favorite show of all time.
That's because Mark's not on it.
Exactly. So,
I do miss Amy, though. I have to admit.
yeah, Amy, are you want? No, she's not. She's with Neil.
No, I know. They're
She's like,
out.
Mark, your
Hopefully
dad
they're
needs
having-
help into the limousine. Mark, your dad's girlfriend doesn't like the chocolate that I bought, even though Chris said it was really good. That's what if
I'm going
to be the bad guy for that.
If we ever get Amy on the show, people will understand how great that is.
They will. My wife actually said I was making fun. She stopped by Trader Joe's the other day.
Yeah, you told me about the chocolate. She basically
was like, help me out here.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to help her out.
Yeah.
My wife, I brought some of that home to my wife. My wife said it was really good. If my wife says the chocolate's good, the chocolate's good. So if girlfriend doesn't like it, I can't help her.
Oh, no. Right? She's going to love it. She's going to love those bonbons.
You should have warmed her up with a honey biscuit.
Yeah. Yeah. I should. That's
the honey sauce always helps out.
He's catching up. All right. So, all right, Sports Black and Gold all over the world, live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and the Gram. And, of course, I dropped the show.
Are we eating?
Right after the show. Yeah, we're going to do that right now, right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. So your daughter, Ellie, made us, she's into this. Explain what you told us.
Yeah,
last night.
Ellie brought a little snack into the program. She's planning to major in anthropology, loves cultures, loves food, usually makes some Asian stuff that's extremely hot. Steve knows this. And
and I don't like the hot stuff.
She knew I was coming out to the show. So last night she was telling Steve about these dates that she made that were like, I don't know, like the Roman Praetorian guards or something.
No. This is what she told me exactly. She said this was the favorite treat at the Coliseum that they would sell. And this was the most popular thing that was sold
Which
at
means
the Coliseum.
It has to taste good.
It was eaten when guys were out there beheading each other.
Yeah.
It can't not taste
Definitely tasted good.
So let's pass the sucker around.
All
I
right.
can't wait to try.
Come on, Ellie. Yeah.
And it's like dates with like nuts and
what is it, Scott? Yeah.
It's
I can't remember what else was in the middle. Honey on the top.
Dates that are caramelized.
Honey sauce.
You can't see it. Dates that are caramelized and
it's got the honey sauce on it.
Have some honey sauce and nuts and anyway.
She doesn't even know how appropriate the honey sauce is.
Well, we'll let you go first.
She was telling you all about this. By the way, I love dates and I love honey. This is going to be very sweet, but it's going to be incredible.
What are the nuts?
Looks like walnuts, but no, it looks like pine nuts.
Walnuts and
there's definitely some pine nuts in there.
I love pine nuts.
These are dense.
Yeah. Are we doing all right there? Mm-hmm. Holy hell.
Wow.
Ugh.
Hello.
I got to say.
I tell you what, that is one sweet treat.
Actually, with the nuts in it, it's perfect.
Cuts it down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm going to go behead somebody now. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I got some neighbors I don't like.
I was thinking maybe in a Coliseum setting.
Well, we can.
We got a theater we could do this in.
We can kidnap them and drag them. Never mind.
Acrisure Stadium might be available.
Yeah, it's got an open end. We can probably get in there, no problem.
No, I think it's still smoking hot from that pit win, actually.
Yeah, you're probably right. We should talk about that.
They're undefeated. What's there to talk about? Let's not jinx them.
Does it have like a little spice in it too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I taste that a little bit of spice now too. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I'll be total transparency here. I was looking at them.
And you're like, you taste it first.
No.
I saw the look in your eye.
Maybe that's where I went.
I did. I saw the look in your eye.
Chris, you thought they were like new cockroaches.
I didn't know. I didn't know. Well, I mean, you said you wanted to study anthropology. You said that I get a headache automatically, but I did not have high hopes.
And you still don't?
No, but they were delicious. They were absolutely delicious. Here,
that honey sauce made it for sure.
I happen to have a napkin from one of our previous shows if you want it. So, Ellie, thank you very much. Those are absolutely, I would eat them again. Would you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If there was
that your first taste or had you had them before?
First time. She just made these.
Yeah. Good for her.
She rocked it up.
Excellent.
Thank you, Ellie.
Thank you, Ellie. Yeah, absolutely. And good luck in all your endeavors. And if you want to become a chef, please, you can taste test
we love
anytime you
being
want.
Guinea pigs. We're guinea pig for food around here.
Well, when he was saying last night that she wanted to like learn how to make ancient food.
Yeah.
Like I got the whole gist of that whole thing. Like what, cause like we still eat grape leaves, but it's all different now, but make it the way they made it back then. I'd never heard of anybody doing that, so I just thought that was cool.
She said there's like a cookbook out there that they found, and it has all these recipes.
That's right.
in 'em.
That's
Yeah.
what we were saying last night. So excellent. Thumbs up, Ellie. Okay, what are we moving on to now? Last part of the show, what we're watching, what that is. Well, there's a billion streaming services out there. I spent a lot of time watching some streaming television today, as a matter of fact, while my wife snored on the couch next to me.
Nice.
I'm going to bring this movie up too in my what are we watching, just because I want to get you guys' take on it. But so what we do is we spend hours and hours watching stuff that maybe you don't want to watch, maybe you do want to watch.
Pepper, by the way, I'm still tasting
Is it?
some of
Yeah,
it.
it's still in my mouth, and that was a horrible thing to say. But anyway, anyway, we're going to tell you what we're watching, whether or not you should or shouldn't watch it.
Yeah.
Steve and I each have one. Do you have one that you want to bring up? I don't have a picture. Usually we have a picture or whatever.
This time of the year, like Steve, I'm always watching hockey. So
yeah. So you're not into the streaming as
I'm
much?
excited. And I told Steve, I think this year, I think we're going to try to watch some college hockey live.
Oh, wow.
Wow. That's above and beyond the hockey Jesus right there.
I'm excited. I'm excited for that. The one thing I am watching, I'm not a big TV person. That's my other half. But a show that I love on Apple TV, Slow Horses.
Oh my God, I can't believe you said that. Love that show.
Yeah, Gary Oldham.
Fantastic.
I think was nominated but didn't win. Probably should have won. It's an MI6 British intelligence show. It keeps you on your toes.
Yep.
It's
Would Susan like it?
It's pretty crazy. I think she should give it a try.
Yeah,
you guys should watch it.
So
writing it down.
You can, Slow Horses or Slough House.
Yeah, Slough House. Yeah, yeah. And he's always hammered and smoking a cigarette, and like, I love his character.
Yeah,
I love his character.
It's pretty good, and having some experience in DC and around the government, I think it's
interesting.
It's done in a realistic way. Political figures, there are people to like and not to like.
Right. So he's saying in a realistic way, but I just want to give you this background on it.
Yeah.
No. He's saying in a realistic way. I trust everything he's saying. He's being completely from his experience.
I think the politics in the intelligence service is what I'm speaking.
Yeah,
there's politics.
Steve thinks I'm going in a direction I'm not going in. But I know where he thinks I'm going.
We'll see in a second.
No, what I'm giving you is here's the premise of the show. Slough House is the precinct where they send
the rejects,
the dumbest MI6 agents.
Gotcha.
No, I wouldn't say dumbest. I think they're rejects.
Right.
For various reasons.
But there's a couple. If
they're not team players,
season 4, right?
Gotcha.
If you're there, you've effed up.
This is season 4, right?
Yeah.
That's coming out. Okay, so you got to watch start of season 1. This season 4 just came out.
Of course.
So when I say the dumbest, in season 1, there were a couple people there that you're like, really? They made it into MI6? Like, they were dumb. All right, that's all I mean.
I got you.
So it's kind of like, so he's saying that there's part of it's kind of true to form.
Yeah.
Do they have like a reject reject MI6 thing for real? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you watch it, you'd be like, what? Anyway, it's really good.
I was speaking more from a
character
standpoint.
Yeah. Like, what's her name?
In the politics.
Yeah. Up above, the top down kind of thing. But yes, Gary Oldman is brilliant in that show. Absolutely. So I wish I actually brought this up as what we're watching a couple years ago on the porch.
I believe it. It sounds like something that you would watch.
So we'll go to you
and
first.
Mark too, for that matter.
I don't know if he's watched it or not, but I would know if he watched it. Okay, so HJ, you are watching
Outlast, and it basically, this is if Survivor had a brother, and he took his brother and he put him in Alaska, and while he was in Alaska, he got no food, only got one machete. He had to pick a team of 4 others, and basically had to stay out there for infinite amount of days. And so there are 4 teams: Alpha, Bravo, Delta.
Bravo, you mean?
Yeah.
Alpha, Bravo.
What did I say?
Brava.
Brava.
It's a Starbucks drink. Didn't he say Brava?
Brava.
Yeah, you said Alpha, Brava.
But these are teams of people, because there was a Discovery show where people were alone.
Right. No, these are teams of people, and the team wins. So like, you have a team of 5. If everybody doesn't tap out or whatever, then everybody gets $200,000.
Oh, nice.
But what happens is, people get hungry and they get cranky and they're like, they fire their gun and like, I want to go eat something, you know?
Yeah.
And like, actually, I think the show itself kind of sucked, to be honest with you, because they didn't really do anything. There was like, they just sat there and some of them just literally sat there and said, well, we're just going to save our energy to go get some water later.
Okay.
And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't make for good television.
No. A slow, painful death
and
from dehydration would, but not this. Right.
Yeah. And, you know, like there were some people who literally didn't take a shit for like 30 days. And they were like, well, if they don't take a shit in the next 5 days, they're going to die. And you're like, really? Like I, you know, that doesn't sound like fun. So needless to say, I would not recommend this show. It moves too slow. It's not really that entertaining. Okay. And all the things that like could kill you, they're just so far out there. You can't even fathom it. Like,
right.
Like you're going to die of dehydration.
It's a little bit like a substitute for the Pirates bullpen.
There you go.
Oh,
there you go.
With if they had like parasitic water they were drinking out there, I would say yes.
Yeah. Okay. Outlast. Don't watch it.
Not good.
Okay. It's interesting. We usually,
by the way, that's season 2. So they've had a season 1 and a season 2.
So somebody wanted it back.
A lot of people are watching it, but
you didn't watch season 1?
Yeah, I did watch season 1.
Right.
I remember season 1 being a little bit more entertaining.
Right.
It seemed like there was more interaction between the groups.
Right.
And this one, it was just like, we're just going to stay here.
So what you're saying now is if they come back with the season 3, you're not going to be watching it?
No, I'm not in on season 3.
Interesting. We both have something that we're not necessarily going to recommend, because usually we have, you know, 2 of us at least are like, yeah, this is great.
I could recommend Survivor.
Hey,
but you won't let me. You won't let me talk about Survivor.
No, because all right, because you're going to right. Yeah, he's like season 78.
No, season 47.
Yeah.
Scott will like that.
Is it 47?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah. The 47th season. That's right.
They do multiple seasons a year. I had the same
Bob
problem.
Barker hosting them?
Yeah, really? No, they've moved on. Drew Carey's hosting.
No, Bob died.
All right. So I am watching something called The Last Thing He Told Me I watched it on Apple TV Plus.
Oh, that trailer photo just looks awful.
Jennifer Gardner. I mean, I'm a big Jennifer Gardner fan.
It does. The Last Thing He Told Me on Apple Plus. We got a comment coming here. Update: Jets score 10-7. Jets. Wow. Over the Bills. The Last Thing He Told Me on Apple TV. Okay, so it's played. Jennifer Garner stars as a wife of a guy who is working at a tech startup on the West Coast. Something comes out about the tech startup being a Ponzi scheme, or the stockholders find out that the books are cooked.
Yeah,
and he goes on the run.
Oh, okay.
And he has a daughter from a previous marriage, and he basically leaves a note for Jennifer Garner to protect her.
Oh, okay.
That's the last thing he told me.
Mm.
And so then of course we all know where this goes. Like, why?
Yep. Why?
Where are you going to go? What are the secrets?
How are you going to be protected? Right. Who's going to do it?
Right.
Yep.
So fast forward to episode, I don't know, 6 or 7. It's a limited series. It's not going to be a series season 2. Thank God.
Yeah.
But fast forward to the end of it.
Can't give us the ending.
I'm not going. Well, why? I don't want. You shouldn't watch it. It's horrible.
Okay.
Nobody
Disclaimer,
dies.
people out there.
Yeah.
If you want to watch
Right.
The Last Thing He Told Me, turn this off now. Okay, there you go.
Nobody dies. All right. There's no real twist. Well, I'd take that back. There's one twist that seems to be kind of obvious. There's no sex.
Is there like a Tristan Jari version of this? Like The Last Thing Mike Sullivan Told Me?
Everything is with you is hockey, isn't it? Anyway, so that's a hockey dad for you.
Yeah, that's true.
Nobody dies. The twist is a little obvious.
Yeah.
There's no sex.
No intrigue.
There's very little violence.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like I was watching this ongoing commercial for that company that Jennifer Garner started, Honey Grow or whatever the hell it's called. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Is that a hair product?
Yeah. No,
Like,
it's like
she's always out in the
Schwaber
garden.
would know. He's probably tried it.
Always out in the garden, just gathering things.
I mean, I'm kind of overselling that part of it.
Yeah.
It really wasn't horrible. What it was is you never. Are you going to be all right? I think the counselor needs some help.
Yeah, he needs some hair product over there. We'll help him. We'll help him in 5 minutes when this is all over.
Yeah. When this is finally mercifully over. I'm telling you, be careful. You're going to hurt yourself.
You're going to get
counselor,
shocked
with
yeah.
the lamp. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it never gets to the point where it's one of those things. It's like Al Pacino. Every time I try to get out, it just keeps
You're like,
pulling me
oh
back
man,
in.
that at the end that was worth watching another episode.
Yeah.
For.
Am I with Siskel and Ebert?
But you weren't you weren't surprised at the ending.
Yes, definitely.
There you
Yeah.
go. See, there you go.
I want to be
Thank
Ebert.
you very much.
And the ending left me kind of the way I felt after I drank 5 beers instead of 10 and then went to sleep. Like not good, not bad.
Not good, not bad.
Just a little milky.
Just like,
yeah.
Why did I do that?
Yeah.
That was kind of a waste of my time.
It's kind of like eating a medium rare steak versus a rare steak for me. Like a medium rare steak it's doable, but I like it rare. I don't know. I don't need
you do like it rare.
Bloody as
That's
hell.
true.
It is rare. Yes,
well,
bloody as hell.
that's a no-go on the last thing he told me then.
It is. It's a no-go on the last thing.
And by the way, you didn't people, you can come back now. You didn't actually give away the ending.
No. And why did you invite everybody back?
Well, because I told him to leave because you were going to give away the ending.
Why did you tell everybody to leave?
Well, because you were going to give away. I said, if you're going to listen, if you want the last thing he told me, leave now. But you never gave away the ending.
Yeah. So you scared everybody away.
Well, that's my.
And then you pulled them back in. All right. Thank you for watching the Sports Black and Gold edition all over the world on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and the Gram. And of course, I'm going to drop this podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or where you get your freaking podcasts. If you can subscribe there, leave us a review. We would love that. I want to thank the counselor for being here.
Nice job, counselor.
We'd like to have you back as often as possible from the home studio or back here. HJ, we'll be talking to you a little bit later. Everybody grab HJ after the Pens game tonight. I am your technical director. I am out. Don't forget about it.
Don't forget about it.
Jablonsk. Say it, Scott.
What the fuck is